Welcome to EGGtoberfest Sunday. My name is Rusty Bowers, craft butcher at Pine Street Market here in Atlanta, Georgia. Today we're at the west end of Atlanta at Wild Heaven Brewery, and the weekend is not over yet. We've had some amazing beers, talented chefs, delicious food on the Big Green Egg, and let's get this day started. We're gonna start with brunch in the Oregon wine country. We're then gonna do a walkabout of Europe, Italy, Greek, French cuisine. Come back here with brewmaster Eric Johnson to do one more collaborative beer and some amazing sausages and braises. And then wrap up the day with part 2 of the wonderful world of EGGtoberfest with founder Ed Fisher. But right now, let's go to the Oregon wine country with authors and sommelier Mary Cressler and pitmaster Sean Martin at the Stoller Family Estates. Take it away, Mary and Sean.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you, Big Green Egg. What an awesome lineup this weekend. We are very honored to be here cooking some of our favorite food here in the Northwest. And I'm going to turn it over to Mary and Melissa, who are going to walk through what we're cooking today.
Thanks. I'm Mary, and this is Sean.
Hi.
And we are from Vindulge and authors of the Fire and Wine Cookbook. And we are here today at the beautiful Stoller Family Estate. And we are here today with Melissa Burr, who is the VP of winemaking for the Stoller Family Group.
Hi there, I'm Melissa Burr, and we are here today at Stoller Family Estate Vineyard, and we are located in the Willamette Valley in Oregon's growing region for wine grapes, and we're about southwest of Portland, about 45 minutes by car, and really excited to talk about delicious food and wine. And right now behind me it's harvest, so another thing to be excited about.
So this morning we are cooking up an Oregon wine country brunch. We've got my personal favorite brunch item. We're going to do some smoked salmon benedict today. So our smoked salmon benedict starts with beautiful, fresh, local salmon. We're going to smoke it, and then we're going to take it and translate it into this beautiful feast that we're going to have for brunch this morning. So Sean is going to talk to you all about some salmon.
Absolutely. So today we have some Columbia King salmon. Now this is wild caught, which means either off of a boat or some other method, but that's our favorite type of salmon, wild caught, just because we like the fat content and we love the flavor. So we really try and seek that out. This is literally off the boat from yesterday. And when it comes to salmon, what we like to do is make sure we start by smoking it, just like we were going to eat this as a meal. It's no different in doing a benedict. So we start by taking a look and seeing if there's these pin bones, like these bones that are hanging out right here. If there are, then we want to take those out by using some culinary tweezers or some strong tweezers. And you simply get in and you slowly pull out these pin bones. Those things are really annoying to eat in, so you just pull them out before you actually start cooking. So next, a little catering trick. If you are going to be portioning these out, it's nice before you cook the salmon to actually slice it up.
Especially for a piece that big. That's a really big piece.
So this is like 5 pounds right here, and this is enough for like a good brunch. And this is just easy to cook for a crowd. So you get the whole fillet.
You know when we can have crowds over again?
Yeah, when we have crowds again. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm doing is I'm portioning these out to about a 1/4 pound each. And you can see as I go down, I get a little bit bigger and longer. So these are just going to fall off when we end up cooking it. Next, we're going to actually season it. So a lot of times with salmon, you're going to brine it. We actually don't brine it for a reason, because we want to keep it as fresh as possible. Brining salmon creates what's called a pellicle, which is like a protein that kind of develops a hard crust on the outside. So when you smoke it, it kind of takes in the smoke. What we're actually doing is we're going to mimic that with some Dijon mustard. So I'm just taking some Dijon mustard. I'm liberally putting this on.
I think a lot of the misconception people have when we talk about smoked salmon is people think of it as lox. So do you want to talk about the difference between smoked salmon, lox, and what we're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. So lox tends to be cold smoked and salt cured. So that means that it's been cooked through a salting process. What we're doing is we're actually hot smoking it. So kind of honoring the Northwest traditions in which a lot of salmon was smoked or even turned into jerky-like through hothouses. So that's what we're doing, is we're actually going to hot smoke it at about 225 degrees Fahrenheit. We put the Dijon mustard on the outside to form that faux pellicle, and that's going to harden up as it smokes. And then we're going to liberally season this with kosher salt and coarse black pepper. You can see I'm just like making it snow all over this because I really want that flavor. It's really simply seasoned and for a reason, because we want to taste the actual salmon. And I think that as people have a love-hate relationship with salmon, a lot of times it's because it's maybe overcooked, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I'm going to simply take this off of here and I'm going to put it right in the smoker. The salmon is going to go on the side with our convector plate so that the heat kind of works its way around. So we like to target 225 degrees Fahrenheit. We use fruit woods, but since we're in wine country, we're actually using barrel staves. So this is oak from an oak barrel that has aged wine. It's been cut up and we're using it just like an oak chunk. But a great alternative for salmon is fruit woods. You can use alder too, but we love cherry and apple because it's just so prevalent throughout the Northwest.
So while this one cooks, we have one that's already finished. So for this salmon, we cooked it for roughly an hour until it reached somewhere between 125 and 130. Now that's pretty rare for salmon, but that's okay when you're buying the freshest salmon you can get your hands on. This is super fresh salmon and we love where we got it from, so we know that it's good quality. And really, that's the secret to salmon. We get asked a lot, like, what makes salmon so good? And to us, it's really buy good quality salmon and don't overcook it. If you can pull it off right around this temperature, if you're a little more comfortable with 140, go for it. But we like to pull it off right around 130, and that's gonna make super tender salmon. So now that the salmon's done, we are going to prep and get ready for our eggs Benedict. So while that's cooling, we're gonna put Melissa to work and make her make a hollandaise sauce.
All right, Melissa.
I'm game.
Awesome.
Okay,
Are
so
you ready? We've got
I'm ready.
everything here for you.
Okay.
So we're gonna let you do it over
So
there. You're gonna
everything to
start, you've got
be excited
4 egg yolks already in that bowl.
Perfect.
So now you're gonna add some grilled lemon.
Ooh.
We grilled the lemon while we were grilling the salmon. You just put it on there for a few minutes till you get nice char marks. It adds great flavor and the juice squeezes out quite nicely.
Squeeze it on in here.
On in there, that's
Okay.
it.
That's
The whole
perfect.
thing. I like a lot of lemon, so keep squeezing that
Me
thing
too.
in there.
Feel free
Nice.
to add all you want.
Should I do the whole thing or half, or
Just
what do you
half.
suggest?
Start with
Just
half.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as you're whisking,
Done.
if it starts to get really thick, you can always add some more. And then
Okay.
before you whisk, you might want to add a little bit of that salt and pepper.
Okay.
Just for flavor.
Just the whole thing, or just like a little?
Start with a little bit.
I'll do a little
Or
bit.
do what you like. You
I
do
know.
you.
Yeah.
I like salt, so
There it is.
We like salt
a
too.
little pepper. You guys measured perfect, so I'm just gonna do the whole thing. I think that was intentional.
You
So
give
I'll
this-
start whisking, right? Is that
Yes.
right?
One of the tricks is just like almost like a straight line back and forth.
I like that. So I was doing
And
it
what you're
incorrectly.
doing is you're aerating it, and you're building body in with the yolk, so that when we start adding the butter, it'll stay thick and nice. And all right, well that's perfect. So
Oh,
what I'm
good.
going to do is I'm going to actually take that from you with the
I'm
whisk,
done. Okay,
and then I'm going to
that's
add the hot butter
Great.
over a double boiler using the actual egg. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
I'm going to grab the butter right here, and we're going to open the egg, and we're going to finish the hollandaise right on the egg. So here we're using water in a pan. We want to make sure the water isn't touching the bottom. And this is the delicate part. You want to make sure you don't scramble your eggs, right? So you just have to constantly be whisking, just
You want
like
me to
this.
pour it while you're whisking,
And then, yeah, you want to pour the butter.
I suppose.
It's great when you have 2 people. Now, look at how well you whisked that.
See? I
That's
did
perfect.
All right, so I'm just gonna.
Perfect direction. This is
Now we're
just a straight line.
slowly adding that butter in, a little bit at a time. Vigorous whisk. That keeps it nice and thick. And this is how we're going to measure the texture. You're going to keep going. Let's add that all this. So that's half a stick of butter right there.
You burning your arms yet?
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I don't have arm hairs left. That's the joy of having this setup, is that I am not over the direct heat right now. So you can see how it stays nice and thick. And just pour the rest of that butter in. And it's that easy. Yeah. And from here, we can add more salt and pepper. We love adding a little cayenne for a little heat.
You can add a little paprika, cayenne just for color.
Yeah. And now we're going to poach the eggs.
And where are we going to poach the eggs, Sean?
We're going to poach them right over the charcoal in a cast iron pan.
You could do it in your kitchen, but why would you if you
Yeah.
have an egg?
Well, I think the whole point with brunch is like being outside and kind of the experience, you know, when you can do that.
Drinking.
And so it's yeah. So I'm going to keep whisking this as we prep for the poached eggs. And then it's time to talk about some wine and food.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about some wine.
All right. So while this is smoking, we're also cooking up some duck fat potatoes. Just duck fat and potatoes that we've parboiled for about 14 minutes. And we're
Sean.
cooking them right in the cast iron, right over the coal.
Tell us about duck fat.
You can find duck fat in the store in a jar, or you can make your own if you're a nerd like me. But we're using duck fat in the place of olive oil, and we add it into the cast iron pan over the direct charcoal here, as you can see. And then we throw some parboiled potatoes, and we're just going to cook them until crispy. It's just a great way to keep things going outside, and they're going to be delicious.
All right, now it's time to assemble our Benedict. We toast our bread. We toast that also just right there on the grill. And then you're going to top it with a nice chunky piece of your salmon. You can crumble it up if you want, but we're just cutting a good piece, putting it straight on. Then top it with your beautifully poached eggs. And then Melissa is going to top it with the hollandaise sauce that she made.
I feel so honored. And I like a lot of sauce, so I'm going to top this a little
me too.
heavily. Probably you can top it as much as you like or as little.
Yes.
Try to make it artistic as you
Look at that.
You eat with your eyes first,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
There we go.
Got that nice
Oh,
buttery
yes.
flavor.
Fancy.
Yes.
And then some chives. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Top it with
Little
some
color.
three chives.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. A little pinch of that.
Beautiful. I like it. There we go.
Nice.
That looks amazing.
That's beautiful. We've got our perfect little Oregon brunch.
Yay.
Now, I think we need to talk about the most important part of the meal.
Yeah, it's not a brunch without wine.
It's true. It's not the most important, but it's a very, very important part, right? It's a compliment.
It is a very important part
Yes.
to complement the meal. So, I got a lot of opinions when it comes to what to drink when it comes to brunch, but we're going to talk about two today, starting with my favorite beverage on the planet after water, because water is the most important beverage. We're drinking some sparkling wine. I love sparkling wine with something like this because it's got great brightness and vibrancy and acidity that helps kind of cut through that rich hollandaise sauce. So I think Melissa should talk about this wine. Tell us a little bit about what we're drinking and why do you think it pairs so well with brunch?
Absolutely. So a lot of sparkling wine is coming out of Oregon and more to come. We grow varieties that are perfect to make sparkling wines such as this. This is called LaRue's from Stoller Family Estate. And the majority of this sparkling wine is Pinot Noir. And it also has a little bit of Chardonnay. Sparkling wine, I agree with you, Mary. It's such, to me, it's one of the most versatile wines you can have.
Great, 100%. With everything, not just brunch.
Everything, because it does have acidity typically. Always has these bubbles, but it has fruit, but it's the acidity that really carries this through with all types of food. So this LaRue's sparkling wine from Stoller, I think is going to be awesome with this because the delicious, rich kind of fattiness of both the salmon and the hollandaise sauce, it will be refreshing when you try these bubbles. Sparkling wine. So yeah, I think it's going to be a slam dunk.
We also have another wine. What else do we have that we have selected today?
With brunch today, yeah, we also have Chardonnay. Oregon doesn't grow a lot of Chardonnay yet. It's only about 5% of the whole state's wine grapes, but it's growing rapidly because our cooler growing area that we're in right now produces Chardonnay that, much like we're talking about the sparkling wine, tends to have a lot of vibrancy, a lot of natural acidity. So that really carries through to food pairings. This is a Chardonnay from Stoller called our Dundee Hills Chardonnay. And it's a Chardonnay that's not oaky or buttery. It's rather the opposite. It's really fresh and it's got a lot of citrus fruit, fresh fruit. Doesn't even see any oak barrels really at all. A little bit of neutral barrel. But the point is, I think this Chardonnay is going to serve very well with this food, similarly to the sparkling wine, because it's going to really refresh your palate. It's delicious. It's good on its own. It's good cold by the glass, and I think it's going to help with that
Yes.
salmon, the oiliness of the salmon, and the buttery deliciousness of the sauce and the poached egg. And it's good for brunch and
That's
dinner
great.
and lunch and all of the
And
things.
all the
So,
above.
yeah, so cheers. to
Cheers, clinky, clinky.
Oregon brunch.
Yeah, and I think too, if you were gonna have the salmon on its own, not brunch, so just the salmon, what would be your choice to pair it with?
And that is a loaded question because I know you already know this answer. And the answer, there's a lot of answers. There's not a wrong answer. If it's delicious to you, that's the number one rule I
Yes.
think for food pairing. People get so overwhelmed with what
I
is and
agree.
what isn't. But if you like it, that is great. If you like whatever with whatever you're eating, fantastic. But Pinot Noir is really known to go so fabulously with salmon. Both we find in the Northwest. Pinot Noir is the number one wine grape the state of Oregon produces. It's over 70% of what's grown here. And Pinot Noir is a medium-bodied red wine, and it's got, again, acidity. I keep talking about that vibrancy in wine being critical for food pairing, but the fruit of the Pinot with the acidity and the little earthiness that it has as a varietal pairs so beautifully with salmon. It just does. The fatty oiliness of the salmon and that freshness that you get from this local salmon is very much complemented by what you find in the Pinot Noir wines. So that's what I would recommend for a standalone. You can kind of mix
Sure.
and match. If we had Pinot Noir right now, I think it would still go really well. But yeah, for sure, I think look to Pinot and salmon as a slam dunk.
Sure, 100%. I agree. Drink what you like, no matter what, 100%. But I think for the Benedict, I'm gonna go for the bubbles.
Yeah.
A little bit of Chardonnay. Let's take a bite.
Yeah. We like to make sure there's a lot of salmon on there. That's the whole point.
Yeah, salmon, a lot of yolk. It's
And a
delicious.
lot of sauce. Buttery
Sauce.
sauce.
Right. Let's do this.
What do you think?
It's good.
Yeah. Speechless, right?
Why don't you dig it?
I'm in.
That salmon is tender.
It is. It's perfect. It's so good.
And you can get more great wine and barbecue and grilling techniques in our book, Fire and Wine. And I also want to say thank you, Melissa, for hosting us here in this beautiful
Yes.
space
This is
and
a
making the
beautiful space.
perfect hollandaise sauce.
My pleasure.
Winemaker extraordinaire, hollandaise sauce extraordinaire. What can't you do?
I would do anything with you guys. This is awesome. So thank you for
Thank you.
being out here.
This was a lot of fun.
Thanks everybody for joining us. We'd love to see what you're cooking too throughout the weekend. Tag us, Indulge, tag Big Green Egg, tag Stoller Family Estate, and use the hashtag EGGtoberfest 2020 so we can see all the delicious stuff that you're all cooking. And thank you, Big Green Egg, for the opportunity to cook. Thank you, Stoller Family Estate, for having us out. And Rusty, back to you for some more great content.
Thank you, Mary and Sean. That smoked salmon Benedict looked delicious. Don't forget to check out their book. At the 12 o'clock hour, I'm going to be back here to brine and smoke a pork loin on the Big Green Egg and have brewmaster Eric Johnson of Wild Heaven to do one more collaborative beer. But we want to see what you're cooking. Share your videos, your social media posts with hashtag EGGtoberfest 2020. We'll be back at the 12 o'clock hour.